Hi, welcome to another Super Deluxe Edition unboxing video. I'm Paul Sinclair and today we're going to be looking at Sade's vinyl box set, which is called This Far. This comes out today, which is the 9th of October 2020, and it collects all her studio albums pressed on half-speed mastered vinyl. Now this box kind of oozes quality, like some kind of posh clothes brand. It's clearly very sort of simple in terms of the design. This outer box was designed by Tom Hingston Studios, and if you look closely, I don't know if you can see this, but it's got a bit of a texture to it, so it feels slightly kind of leathery in texture, and there's not much on it other than that typography at the front and also on the spine as well, where it's even more subtle. So that's the outer box. Contains the 6 studio albums here. This is the backing sheet that sits on the back. Pretty straightforward, it just tells you all the tracks on all the albums. It's not glued on or anything like that, it's just sealed into the back. So you're not going to get any marks on the back of the box with that kind of glue. So yeah, there's no CD version of this box set, it's just vinyl. Everything's been half-speed mastered by Miles Showell at Abbey Road. So let's take the contents out and have a look. So let's start with the wonderful debut, Diamond Life, 1984. As you can probably see, this is incredibly glossy, this gatefold vinyl. I think it's actually much more glossy than the original was. I'll show you I have got an original, I'll show you it in a minute. Look, it does look good. Because it's black and it's shiny, it's a fingerprint magnet, that's the only problem. And the interesting thing is it's all shiny and varnished on the outside, but then on the inside it's kind of uncoated kind of feel to it. But that's the gatefold. And this does fairly much match the original. Let's look at the original. So there's the reissue on the left hand side, that's the original. Obviously the original, you know, this is a bit battered and the blacks are much blacker on the reissue. And the blue is slightly kind of bluer. You can see in this light anyway, the original looks a little bit more of a green tint to it, but it's all very marginal. Layout wise, everything's identical. And on the back, so that's the new reissue and that's the original. Kind of as it was. I mean, even the Epic, if you look in the corners, even the Epic logos are the same. It still says available on cassette, so they've replicated it, even though you can't actually buy this on cassette anymore. They definitely mean it when they say they've recreated it. However, there is one tiny little issue, and that is, despite the very posh outer box designed by a name studio, despite the glossiness and the attention to detail on the design of the gatefold, and despite the fact that this has been lovingly remastered at Abbey Road from digital transfers, despite all that, they've chosen to put the vinyl record in a horrible, cheap inner sleeve, which sort of defies common sense, but that's what they've done. This is 180 gram black vinyl, no gimmicks with Sade. As you can see, it's got the recreation of the original label there. But there you go, that's the original label, and that's the reissue, so it's more or less identical. I haven't had a chance to play this yet, so unfortunately I can't give you a feel for how great it sounds. But as I say, it's pretty disappointing there, and a really nice high quality poly-lined inner sleeve, you know, would have made it all the difference, I think. So anyway, that's Diamond Life. Next up is Promise. Now this is quite a quick follow-up. This was 1985. Same deal here, very highly varnished and polished sleeve. Brilliant front cover, I really like this. I love this album actually, and I like the image. Promise is another one where I do have an original. Looking a bit battered again, but as you can see, there's something about the varnish, it just brings out the blacks and the hues, and it just sets it off nicely. It's all very minimal on the back. same as the original obviously. And then it's the same pattern with this inner gatefold as it was with Diamond Life. It's uncoated, has a kind of uncoated board feel to it. And it's the same deal, obviously all the sleeves are going to be like this, so I'm not going to mention it every time, but slightly different sleeve design for Promise. Some great songs on this album. I mean, Sweetest Taboo is obviously one of the ones that everyone remembers, but Never As Good As the First Time is also brilliant. I mean, it's a very good follow-up to Diamond Life. So that's Promise. Sade's a bit like Kate Bush. She had a very busy 80s and then everything slowed down dramatically, because Stronger Than Pride, the third album, obviously Sade is the band and it's the person, so it gets a bit confusing sometimes, but there were 3 albums in the 80s. This is the third, Stronger Than Pride. This came out in 1988. Features Paradise, Love Is Stronger Than Pride. So this one isn't a gatefold. First of the records not to be a gatefold. It's not as high a gloss as the other ones, I don't think. I mean, it does have a sheen to it, but I don't think it's quite as glossy as the other ones. So having said all the inner sleeves would be the same, this is a printed inner, so sometimes with vinyl reissues you get a printed inner as a separate item, and then you get the vinyl in the polyline sleeve. They've chosen not to do this for Sade. So the album comes in just the printed inner. So we've got lyrics on one side, credits and band photo on the other. Same kind of label design as Promise. Now of course there's no bonus material with any of this. So the onus is really on the presentation and the quality of the mastering, because there's no extra audio to entice you to buy it. So Sade's career was very straightforward in some ways. It's 6 albums, 6 tours, and that's it. And 2 of those albums have only happened in the last 28 years. So Love Deluxe was from 1992. This has No Ordinary Love on it, which was obviously a massive hit. Now this is where we go kind of uncoated stock, kind of arty, rough kind of feel to it. No more shiny gloss. We're out of the 80s, I guess. Stunning front cover. Haven't got any more original Sade vinyl to compare this to. Again, single vinyl. None of these are doubles, they're all single records. Printed inner. And the 180 gram black vinyl, it's got a different design. I mean, Epic had changed their logo again by this point. So there was an 8-year break until we got Lovers Rock, 2000. Again, it's all very minimal. I mean, there's no messing around with Sade. It's just, you know, quite arty, lots of space, small text. Again, printed inner for this one. And another album and another Epic redesign. So she takes so long to bring her albums out, Sade, that companies like rebranded probably numerous times, but there you go. And then it's amazing to think there's only been 1 album in the last 20 years. And it's this one, Soldier of Love from 2010. This is the most recent record. Brilliant album, I really enjoyed this. So we're back to gatefold again. It has a kind of textured, high quality feel to it. It's not shiny like the earlier ones, but it looks pretty stunning. And another printed inner sleeve. And for this one, we're back to the original Epic logo, so it's like full circle. So anyway, so this is the 6th album. And of course, Sade's only released 6 albums, so that's it, isn't it? Box set is done. There's no bonus discs, there's no bonus material, there's no B-sides, there's no remixes. Nothing that's been collected onto an extra album, so there's nothing else to talk about. Or is there? No, so the box is called This Far, and there was a bit of a hint on the press release that, you know, is the story complete yet? You know, is there another chapter in Sade's story, etc., etc. And it sounded just like PR hyperbole, but there is something extra in this box set, and it's this. It's a black foam placeholder with a big question mark on it. The idea with this is clearly to give you space to put in another album. So there you go. Is there another album around the corner? Is Sade 5 years away from releasing another album? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But they wouldn't have done this for no reason, so there's definitely something afoot. So this is one little surprise, one little talking point in what is a fairly straightforward box set, it has to be said. The outer box is lovely, it's luxurious, it's well constructed. The vinyl records all look good, all feel good, barring some of the inner sleeves, which especially the non-printed ones from the earlier albums. One thing I would say is when you choose to try and replicate the original records, you're not leaving yourself any latitude to do anything interesting. So the first two albums didn't have printed inner sleeves, so the reconstructed versions for the reissues don't have any inner sleeves. Well, not having an inner sleeve is actually quite boring, so why not create a new one, you know? And if you don't want to create a new one, why not use a high quality version for the reissue? So there's various questions it raises. The funny thing is with Sade, we were talking about, you know, the minimalism. This box is quite minimal. The design on all the records are quite minimal, and her actual career is quite minimal if you think about it. She's put out 6 albums with the band, toured 6 times, and that's it. Literally 2 albums in the last 28 years, which is less than Kate Bush has produced. And she's obviously enjoying life and doesn't feel compelled to, you know, tour, put out music or do any of that stuff. So good for her, I reckon. So are you going to buy this box set? Well, it's £130, which is fairly expensive for what you're getting. On the other hand, not all the albums are easy to pick up on vinyl, and these are half-speed masters, so you're not going to get them anywhere else. I'm really looking forward to playing these records. I'm sure they're going to sound amazing. Miles Shaw does fantastic work, so I'm really looking forward to that. I can't go without talking about the fact that there's no CD box set. It's getting to be a kind of similar story time and again these days. I don't know why there isn't a CD box set. Maybe they just don't think it's worth it in terms of the improvement of the sound, whereas with vinyl you've got the opportunity to half-speed master. But I don't think it would have killed them to create a little mini version of this box and put in some vinyl replica CDs. That would have been quite an attractive package, but it also would have been quite cheap, and a cheap product takes away from an expensive product, so I think there's that element to it as well. But anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. Thanks very much for watching. Please keep holding the music in your hands. I've been Paul from Super Deluxe Edition. Please subscribe to the SDE YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.